Who's in charge of your child's education? Well, many of New Jersey's urban schools are under state control. In fact, some have been controlled by the state for years. Yet, by almost any measure, too many of these schools continue to fail their students. Here to explain what's really going on with New Jersey's urban public schools and to talk about the politics of education in the Newark public school system is Steve Adubato, my co-anchor on New Jersey Capitol Report. Steve, welcome.
Good to see you, Raf.
So, Steve, give us the latest. What is the latest on the schools that are under state control in New Jersey?
You have 4 urban school districts, Raf, that are under control of the state. Jersey City, the longest. Paterson. You also have Newark, and the most recent urban school district that the state took over is way down in South Jersey, right across the river from Philadelphia, Camden, New Jersey. 4 urban school districts that the state is, frankly, in control of, but to different degrees.
So, these schools were not doing well before
Right.
the state controlled them, but it's kind of unique that the state should control local schools. Why did they get involved at all?
New Jersey schools are governed, frankly, by the 1947 Constitution in the state of New Jersey. That's the Constitution, the most recent Constitution folks live by in the state. The Constitution actually dictates something called a thorough and efficient education for every child. What does that mean? If the state believes that a child is being failed by an urban or a local school district, the state has a legal and constitutional responsibility to come in and take over. That's what they did in these 4 urban school districts.
Well, it seems that politics is involved in the education system of New Jersey more than it is in many other states. Am I right on this?
You've got so many local politicians that are governing and influencing who the head of the school board is, who the superintendent is. When you have 611 school districts, that means you have so many people getting elected, so many power brokers that are involved in getting people elected. So in Newark or Jersey City or in Camden or Paterson, those players are involved in state politics. They're involved with state legislators. So it's impossible for these communities not to be political.
So what's the track record of the state's handling of these schools? Are they doing a good job, by and large?
By most accounts, mixed at best. The state, there's no way the state can say they've dramatically improved any one of these 4 urban school districts to the point where they're getting out because things are so much better. Jersey City, I need to say, Jersey City has the least amount of state control, meaning Jersey City, as a local community, has control of its finances, personnel. That's not the case in any other community. Newark is the next community that allegedly the state's going to be pulling out, and there's going to be quote-unquote local control of the of the public schools. That's the next of the 4 that allegedly the state will be pulling out of.
So the mayor of Newark is Ras Baraka. What's he saying about all this?
Ras Baraka was elected in many ways on a platform of saying, A, they want to get rid of the superintendent at the time, who was Cammie Anderson, the state-imposed superintendent. And the second piece, he argued for local control. He said no more that the state would be in control. And ultimately, after that election, apparently he sat down with Governor Christie, a Republican, Ras Baraka, a Democrat, and they apparently worked out some sort of arrangement to do this. I sat down with Ras Baraka as part of a series we're doing called Newark at a Crossroads. This is what Mayor Baraka told me about his relationship with Chris Cerf. Chris Cerf, former state commissioner of education, but now put in as, get this, the Newark school superintendent. This is Ras Baraka talking about that complex relationship.
I think that he has a lot of work to do. Let me just say that. And God is funny because the work that he has to do is to clean up behind a person that he put there and the policies that he created. So he has work to do to straighten that out, to help us move towards local control and transition. I think he understands that.
That's ultimately where this is going to go.
Yes, I think he knows that his job is to put himself out of a job, that he has to move us toward local control. If we weren't going towards local control, then I wouldn't approve of any of it.
You would never have gone along with this?
No, unless if there was no local control attached to it, I would not have. Absolutely not.
So what's next in Newark Public Schools?
Well, it does look like over the next several years, Newark will get back control over the schools. But I've got to tell you, Raf, it's one thing to have control over the Newark Public Schools from a local perspective, but it's another thing to educate those children. You got thousands, tens of thousands of children. And by the way, more and more of them, 40% of the Newark school children are in charter schools.
So what's the future of charter schools in Newark and in the state as a whole?
2 different things. In Newark, 40% of those kids are in charter schools. More and more of them want to go to charter schools. Their parents want them to go to charter schools. But the Newark Teachers Union, absolutely against it. Ras Baraka, not in favor of expanding it. So it's a question as to how they're going to, whether they're going to continue or not. The question is, will public demand for more charter schools beat out what the political forces want? So it's unclear. Frankly, I wish politics wasn't that involved, but we're talking New Jersey, and that would be impossible.
All right, Steve. Well, thanks so much for clarifying it for us, and thanks for being here.
My pleasure.